Welcome to Tompadula TV and to another interview for Intervista Interviews Series 3. I have with me Sebastiano Riggio. We were just having a coffee outside there in the piazza, and we've been talking for a while, and I thought, Sebastiano is a very interesting person. So without further ado, Sebastiano, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And I hope to have you here more often because I find you very interesting as a person.
Oh, wow, that's just very endearing of you. Thank you very much.
But I don't really know you.
I know you very well because I see you quite often on TV. So
good.
Nice
but what I would like to know from you, because
Sure.
I know you've done some radio work, but you're a businessman primarily. So what if you tell us who you really are yourself, according to you?
I just want to be the best person I can for whoever I know. That's the person I really am. But anyway, I was actually born in Sicily. I was born in a place called Caltagirone, which is an absolute beautiful place.
Beautiful. I've been there.
I think I've seen a couple of your clips where you've shown...
They do a lot of ceramics. Beautiful place to visit. Absolutely spectacular, honestly.
Yes, it is. It's a lovely place. But I left there when I was 3 years old, or just over 3 years old, and then of course it took like about 800 years to get to Australia by ship. And so we were here in a month, and before I was 4, obviously, and have lived here in Australia in Melbourne since I was 4 for just 3 and a bit.
What we're saying outside is that we come from good popular stock in Italy. In other words, our families worked
very hard
on the land. They had businesses in the small towns, but basically it was a small town livelihood where the years went by according to particular Christian calendar with the saints and the feasts, etc. Whereas in Melbourne we actually have sport, but in the small towns in Italy, it's all revolved around the church and the bells and all the festa and the agricultural work that went on. So from that point of view, we are enriched in a way with a background. Absolutely. And then we come to Melbourne. What was your effect? Of living here in Melbourne, and maybe when you went back, what did you find?
Well, I had a huge yearning to get back to Italy, especially Sicily, and where I was born, and I found it an amazing place, as you know it is. It's a beautiful place, but here. We've just been given so much from our parents who worked so very hard, and I'm sure everybody in my generation experienced the fact that they yearned to miss their parents because they were just so heavily involved in trying to make a living, not only for them and a difference in their life, but also a difference in our life. And I was very lucky to.
And they've done very well in Melbourne because it is a city of migrants, and the development has been mainly due to the fact that people have migrated here and were able to work freely and raise their families.
Absolutely, yes. And I was very lucky. Like I was saying, my parents, just like everybody else's parents, worked very hard, and I was able to go to school.
And yet Italy has been around now, culturally speaking, as a civilization for 3,000 years. So sure. It's a bit, it makes you think why people had to migrate after World War II. But if there was a war, you can imagine, politically speaking, it had an effect further down the line, and people said fed up and say, well, we'll migrate. But Italy is also a nation of immigrants, and now it has become a nation of immigrants.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the reasons why my parents and family left, is because of the suppression that was occurring at the time, and obviously the lack of trying to achieve financial status over there was very difficult. My parents in both sides had families that had land, and obviously they grew up on the land, and they would produce. So as we call them here, primary producers. And obviously that didn't go very well.
That was really subsistence farming. It wasn't really farming in order to make a living from it. It was more you grow what you grow for the use of your family.
From my mother's side it was, but from Dad's side, no, they had quite a bit of land, and it was to produce and sell. So they were, unfortunately...
My family, they sort of had olive oil.
Right.
So olive oil was sold, was
Sure.
exchanged.
Yeah.
So you did get a bit of trade.
Yeah, they got a bit of trade, and
But
then
not-
it was so diminished that they had to move and
And
migrate.
here in Australia, I was fortunate enough to go to Melbourne University, and I think you
Yeah,
too.
I did as well, but I did.
And we were saying that from our family, I thought I was the first one of all the cousins, etc., to actually go to a university and get a degree. And I think in your case it's the same.
Yeah, it was.
But after this, we've had plenty of...
Yeah, and that's the wonderful thing about it. You sort of become a mentor, and I was just saying to you before that it was actually one of my cousins that mentioned it, that it was your pathways, that you were the segue to actually inducing in minds of our children and my children, as she was saying, that to go to university and get a degree. And I think this is a great place to be able to develop your family to whatever direction they want, whether it's professionally and get a good education, or whether it's the fact that they want to get a trade, and they can do very well from a trade.
This is a land of meritocracy. In other words,
absolutely.
Politically speaking, it was, pretty sort of raw. In other words, the politicians, apart from what we say about them, actually put a lot of good things in place. The focus has always been on education for everybody. Health, has been looked after in this country very well over the years, as against the class system in Europe. And I feel that they are overcoming that slowly but surely over the years. You can't see it over there, but it may be still there. But as it is in here too.
Yeah, look, we're in a system, and Australia's a great country because the governments here don't allow you to get poor, and they certainly don't allow you to get rich, because we've got to understand that there are parameters and upper limits.
Then we are neither poor nor rich. Therefore, we've got to keep on trying. And on that note, we're going to go for a break.
Yeah,
we'll come back and chat some more, Sebastiano.
Absolutely, yeah, that'd be great.
Fantastic.
Thank you.